The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time is a game that is very special to me. When I was 5 years old, I used to watch my dad play it. But it is also special to me for other reasons too. Join me as I review The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and why it is so dark. So let's get into it. Welcome to RetroGems, a channel to teach more people about retro games. I'm Jem and I'm 12 years old and I love retro games. The Legend of Zelda is a great series starring the hero, Link. In other Zelda games, Link is usually a kid, or an adult, or a wolf. But in this game, Link can turn into both a kid and an adult. Back when this game was made in the mid-90s, the idea of 3D games was still really new and hadn't been developed. To make the game easier to play, Nintendo created a system called Z-targeting. This lets you lock the camera and the direction Link is facing on an enemy or object. A lot of people think Ocarina of Time is the first 3D game with lock-on targeting, but this is not true. Locking on in a 3D game was in other games such as Mega Man Legends and Virtual On. What I think makes Ocarina of Time so unique from the other Zelda games is that a quarter way through the game, you get an ability to change from a kid to an adult whenever you want. When you are an adult, you have the Master Sword or the Bigoron Sword, but all the villagers that are normally at the market are turned into zombie-like creatures called Re-Dead. You have an ocarina to play songs to do things like calling your horse, warping, making it rain, opening special doors, and turning day to night or night to day. You've been able to collect instruments in other Zelda games, but this is the first time you've actually been able to play one. Ocarina of Time has some of my favorite songs, enemies, and temples. My top 2 favorite songs in Ocarina of Time are Gerudo Valley and Kokiri Forest. My favorite temple is the Spirit Temple because of the music and the very creative game mechanics where you enter the temple both as a child and an adult. Up until that point, you always complete temples as an adult, with Kid Link only getting to beat 4 minor dungeons. You also get my all-time favorite item in the Spirit Temple, the Mirror Shield, which lets you reflect light to solve puzzles and reflect some enemy magic attacks. My favorite enemies include King Dodongo, Moblins, Deku Scrub, Re-Dead, and Death Hand. No, I'm joking. You will learn why I hate the last 2 enemies. I chose Ocarina of Time because first, I haven't done a Zelda video yet, and second, my dad played it with me when I was 5, and I really enjoyed it, so I kind of have a connection with Ocarina of Time in particular. There are a couple villages to explore, including Kokiri Forest, the Market, Kakariko Village, Lake Hylia, Goron City, Zora's Domain, and Gerudo Village. Ocarina of Time perfected the classic Zelda format, which, if you don't know what that is, I will explain. So, you start off with no weapons, and normally someone is calling for you, in this case, Navi. Navi is your fairy partner that gives you hints if you're stuck on a puzzle. You get given a stick or a sword, but in some games you have to find your weapon or train to get the weapon. In Ocarina of Time, you have to crawl through a small tunnel to open a chest to get the Kokiri Sword. Normally, you have to save Princess Zelda from Ganon, the main antagonist for almost every Zelda game. In some Zelda games, the main bad guy is not Ganon. For example, in Majora's Mask, you fight Majora, and in Skyward Sword, you fight Demise. Now, generally, there are 5 temples in a Zelda game that represent different elements, like fire, water, forest, ice, or earth. You usually end in Ganon's castle. But Ocarina of Time has a light, forest, fire, water, shadow, and a spirit temple. There are also 4 mini-temples, which include an ancient tree, a giant lizard's den, a belly of a giant fish, and a really creepy and disturbing well. From almost all of these temples, you will get a new item. You will also get a medallion from each normal temple, and you will get a spiritual stone from the first 3 mini-temples to unlock the Master Sword, which Link pulls out of the stone to turn into an adult. There's a dark aspect to Ocarina of Time. Not only is this game visually scary, but you always feel unease. This is especially true in the bottom of the well, the Shadow Temple, and the market. Ocarina of Time is also a sad game because you start off as a kid and you have friends, but when you get the Master Sword, you turn into an adult and no one recognizes you. The bottom of the well has a literal torture chamber. It's not just a normal well. It also happens to be located in the middle of a cute little town called Kakariko Village. Creepy. Now you will see why I have so much hatred for the two enemies I mentioned before. When I was 5, I was scared of Redead and Dead Hand. Redead are clay-like zombies that wrap their arms around you and try to squeeze you to death. These enemies were made by Ganon. Redead are located inside the royal family's tomb, the bottom of the well, the Shadow Temple, and the market when you were an adult. Dead Hand is a really disturbing mini-boss with blood splotches all over it. Dead Hand has infinite hands that will come out of the ground and grab you. When the hands grab you, you'll have to try to escape the hand's tight grip, but if you can't escape, then Dead Hand goes over to you and attempts to bite you. You'll have to hit its head, and after you beat Dead Hand, you are so relieved, but it turns out you have to beat it twice, once in the bottom of the well and once in the Shadow Temple. Ocarina of Time is one of my favorite Zelda games. You can get Ocarina of Time on a 3DS, on the Nintendo 64, and you used to be able to get it on the Wii, but alas. The easiest way to get it these days is with the Nintendo Online subscription for the Nintendo Switch. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified when I post my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!